nobody wants her. Like she had to go over there where her reputation didn't so much precede her in order to get a check. So my friends, we need to be a little bit more discerning in our invitations. It was just more inanity, saying absolutely nothing about anything with a huge windup to every single quote unquote point she was about to make. She makes you work so hard. You have to sift through 500 words to get to the 4 that actually do have meaning, but then you realize that those 2 are entirely empty.
All right, this one's fresh and fiery, and you're going to love every second of it. Megyn Kelly just torched Kamala Harris in a takedown that was as hilarious as it was savage. Harris flew all the way to Australia to deliver one of her classic word salad specials, and yep, she delivered in full cringe-worthy fashion. You've got the full breakdown coming up, and trust me, it's a wild ride. So hit that subscribe button, buckle up, and let's dive straight into the madness.
We're lucky, aren't we, to just get a little bit of this gold dust, that the realtors of Australia are what bring her out of hiding.
Like, for what lessons exactly? First of all, she's never been a salesperson. Don't you have to know sales and very well to be a realtor? Like, that's one of their greatest skills. You'd think they'd want somebody who is an excellent salesperson. She's never been in the public sector doing any sort of sales work whatsoever, other than her fake little stint at McDonald's. But let's face it, those burgers sell themselves. So what could be gleaned from her? First of all, you got to be a little concerned. Like, it'd be one thing if she were in hot demand over here and like she just made time for the Aussies because that's out of the goodness of her heart. Nobody wants her. Like she had to go over there where her reputation didn't so much precede her in order to get a check.
Honestly, I had the same reaction as Megyn Kelly when I heard Kamala Harris was speaking at a real estate conference. Seriously, who thought that was a good idea? What were the organizers thinking? Handing the mic to someone with zero experience in real estate and expecting anything remotely insightful is like inviting a chef to comment on rocket science. Was she going to get a keynote on how to evict common sense? Megyn might be onto something. Because at this point, it's hard to tell whether Harris was actually honored with the invite or if she maneuvered her way into a paid speaking slot. Either way, it's just another bizarre twist in the ever-growing Harris highlight reel.
And then the bits that I saw, because earlier today, at least, it wasn't put out on video, so we were just getting little sneak peeks at it from what my friends over there, got and put online. It was just more inanity, saying absolutely nothing about anything with a huge windup to every single quote unquote point she was about to make. She makes you work so hard. You have to sift through 500 words to get to the 4 that actually do have meaning, but then you realize that those 2 are entirely empty.
I'm about to play Kamala Harris clip in just a second. But first, let me say this. Megyn Kelly was absolutely right. I'd watched just 5 minutes of that interview and walked away with a full-blown headache. Not from the content, because, let's be real, there wasn't any, but from trying to decode whatever it was she thought she was saying. The worst part, it's how she leans in with that serious, almost presidential expression, like she's about to drop some deep, world-changing insight, and then hits us with the most confusing, circular, cringe-worthy word salad imaginable. It's like watching a TED talk delivered by a magic 8-ball. Think I'm exaggerating? Just listen to this.
If you are in an interaction where you don't have that level of awareness, they will be aware of that. I mean, this is the thing that I've also known about life, and I'm sure everyone here understands. The vast majority of human beings are very intelligent.
You know what? Let me spare you the headache. I won't subject you to the rest of her speech. Out of an entire hour-long performance, only about 1 minute and 2 seconds made any sense. The rest? Pure gibberish, wrapped in Fox inspiration. And here's the kicker. People actually paid $1,000 to sit through that. $1,000? To watch Kamala Harris do what she does best. Talk a lot without saying anything. Did no one read the fine print? This isn't new. It's like buying tickets to a mime show and expecting Shakespeare. Of course, Megyn Kelly didn't hold back. Her next takedown of Kamala? Absolutely scorching. and well-deserved.
Basically just giving a version of the same speech wherever she goes, which of course is the laziest possible thing, and they get paid a huge chunk of change. Can I read from one of the newspaper accounts of what she said? Quote, she said,
please do.
Real estate agents could be considered, quote, civic leaders for their role in connecting buyers with suitable homes. The point, she just turns up anywhere and insert industry or who I'm talking to and tell them that they're civic leaders. They're flogging apartments around Australia and beachside on the Gold Coast. Civic leaders, please.
I know, I promised I wouldn't hit you with any more cringeworthy Kamala Harris moments, but I just couldn't resist. This next clip is too absurd to ignore. At one point, she starts talking about civic leaders in real estate helping connect buyers. And honestly, what does that even mean? Is she suggesting neighborhood activists moonlight as real estate agents? Or that city council members should start hosting open houses on Saturdays? Who knows? At this point, trying to make sense of Kamala's speeches feels like reading horoscopes written by ChatGPT on a triple espresso. What's truly baffling is how she delivers these lines with such unwavering conviction, as if she's unveiling some bold new policy. In reality, it's just another serving of word salad, drenched in a rich dressing of confusion.
They don't even see themselves like that. Like, they know a lot about houses and what would make somebody happy and what's a good deal and what's not. But civic leaders, what is that? That's like your preacher, probably your mayor, you know, I don't know, some activist in town who's taken up an issue that's important to the town, like no windmills offshore. I don't know, but it's probably not the realtor. And that's just, of course, her empty pablum, because CAA took her on as a client, this big agency that I used to be with too. And I'm sorry to tell you, but you guys were the only takers. So it's very, someone was really excited until they found out like literally no one else wanted her. I shudder to think what the check looked like. They cannot get her any gigs over here. No one wants to hear from her.
Kamala Harris rarely gets invited to speak around here. And honestly, it's no mystery why. We already know exactly what we'd be getting. And no one's rushing to sit through another hour-long ramble packed with buzzwords, filler, and zero substance. Her speeches are like fast food for the brain, overprocessed, lacking in nourishment, and somehow still not satisfying. Now, maybe a few lawyers out there would be happy to host her. She does have a legal background, and they might enjoy parsing her monologues like courtroom transcripts. But for the rest of us, we want speakers who inspire, inform, or at the very least, make sense. And unfortunately, Kamala hasn't checked any of those boxes in a very long time.
Not only could she not sell real estate the way the people listening to this show likely can, she couldn't sell herself. So why would you think she would have something of value to say to you about sales, which is the business of real estate? Like, she didn't win the presidency. She didn't win the nomination ever. She couldn't. She failed miserably when she actually did run. She couldn't sell herself as an inspirational woman, nor as a woman from Puerto Rico or Jamaica or where her accent's from. She couldn't sell herself as any of those things. All she really is an out-of-work lawyer. So I mean, maybe you should ask her about contract law. She might be able to say something valuable on that front. Otherwise, it was a waste of everyone's time.
Honestly, I don't think Kamala Harris is cut out for a long-term political career and public speaking. Even less so. The gaffes keep piling up faster than anyone can keep track. It's like watching a train wreck in slow motion, except there's no dramatic crash, just a string of awkward, confusing moments that leave everyone asking, what does she just say? Effective public speaking requires clarity, confidence, and a genuine connection with the audience, all things she consistently seems to struggle with. Maybe it's time for her to consider stepping back, quietly exiting the political spotlight, and focusing on something she truly knows: law. There's no shame in bowing out gracefully and channeling her energy into a space where she can actually make a difference. Not every path leads to the White House, and that's okay. Sometimes the smartest move is knowing when to walk away. For Kamala, a return to her legal roots might just be the best decision. For her reputation, and for a public that's grown weary of the endless word salad.
Disappointed that she didn't try an Australian accent, because as you say, during a campaign, there she was, you know, if she was in the South, she'd try to sound a little Southern. And what was it that your daughter, doesn't your daughter have a little piece of advice as to how you can try to sound
how you
a little
can
Australian?
sound Australian. You say, razor blades.
Razor blades.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Kamala
Razor
Harris.
blades.
Have you got any razor blades? See, that would have worked. It would have worked. Maybe I was trying to think.
What I'm actually saying is rise up lights. I'm in American English, I'm saying rise up lights, but it translates into Australian English into razor blades. but I sound like a local, don't I?
Absolutely, and you are welcome on any of our conferences anywhere, and they'll pay you better than she did. All right.
Oh my God, I know. I should be offended that I wasn't invited first. I'm much bigger in Australia than Kamala Harris is. Where's my invitation, realtors?
Kamala Harris comes off so phony, it's hard to tell if there's even a real version of her underneath it all. Honestly, if someone created a fake Kamala clone, good luck figuring out which one's which. She switches up accents faster than a Broadway actress in a one-woman show. Southern drawl? Check. Urban slang? Sure. Folksy Midwest charm? Why not? But it's never about authenticity. It's about performance. She doesn't speak, she acts. Always morphing, always adapting, always trying to be what she thinks people want, instead of just being herself. And here's the irony. The harder she tries to connect, the more disconnected she sounds. Voters see through it. People aren't craving a chameleon. They're looking for someone real. Someone who doesn't reinvent themselves every time they step up to a podium. With Kamala, what you get isn't who she is. It's who she's pretending to be. Her speeches don't feel like leadership. They feel like auditions. And a crowd? They're not clapping anymore. They're cringing. Even Bill Maher warned us about Kamala Harris. More than once. Maybe it's time we started listening.
I could see is replacing the vice president because, yeah, she's just not very popular anywhere. And it didn't seem to work out. And I don't know, that's been done before on a ticket. I just think she's a bad politician.
From what I can tell, replacing the vice president might be the smartest move. Because let's be honest, Kamala Harris just isn't resonating with voters. She's not popular, her presence on the ticket hasn't added much, and frankly, it just hasn't worked out. And let's not forget, swapping out a VP candidate has been done before. It's not unprecedented. The truth is, she's just not a strong politician, and at this point, that's becoming more and more obvious.
The problem with the Democratic Party, they're so boxed in by identity politics that you cannot conceive of a Democratic ticket that doesn't have a woman, person of color on it, and pretty soon you're going to line up behind that gay Latino, and you're going to have, a deaf Eskimo.
If only the DNC had listened to Bill Maher and sidelined Kamala Harris in favor of a stronger, more broadly appealing presidential candidate, they might have avoided the devastating defeat in last year's elections. Maher warned them. Many others did too. But the party was too busy ticking identity boxes and chasing symbolic gestures to hear the real alarm bells. Let's be honest. Kamala Harris has never been widely popular. Her approval ratings were dismal long before she was thrust onto the national stage. Her speeches feel scripted, her policies vague, and her public persona often disconnected from everyday Americans. Yet, despite all that, the DNC kept pushing her forward as if electability didn't matter. This wasn't just a misstep, it was political malpractice. When the stakes were sky high, the party bet on symbolism over substance, and voters saw right through it. Harris shouldn't be anywhere near the presidential ticket in 2028. The Democrats need to wake up and realize performative politics won't win elections. If they keep ignoring voices like Maher's and the clear will of the electorate, they're not just risking another loss. They're handing the next election to their opponents on a silver platter.